It started with a handshake in Rio, and ended with a shockwave through Wall Street. 56% of the world's population, 44% of global GDP, one pact, one message. BRICS isn't playing defense anymore, it's calling the shots, and the US, scrambling. Trump's reaction, pure panic, because when BRICS hit the global economy with a 100% tariff warning, it wasn't just a trade move, it was a declaration of independence from the dollar. A seismic shift is here, and it's reshaping the rules of global power, supply chains, and the economic future of the United States. Before we dive into the full story, hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next twist in this global power realignment. And tell us in the comments, do you think the US can push back? Or is this the moment America loses its grip on the global economy? Your take matters. When BRICS leaders met in Rio, it marked a major shift in global trade. Their one-page agreement sent a clear message, a 100% tariff threat targeting US exports. Trump quickly reacted, proposing a 10% tariff on all imports from BRICS-aligned nations, a step down from his earlier 100% threat but still a serious warning that prices could rise for Americans. The BRICS bloc now includes over 56% of the global population and nearly half the world's economy, giving it significant leverage. Trump's retreat highlights deeper concerns. The US dollar's dominance is fading, now at its lowest share in over 30 years. Escalating a trade war as the dollar weakens could lead to economic instability and reduced US control over global markets. Now Americans are asking the real questions. What happens to interest rates, grocery prices, the supply chain from Shenzhen to Chicago? This isn't just about tariffs, it's about a new world order that's unfolding fast. Indonesia's recent entry into BRICS, finalized on January 6, 2025, was another game-changer. It marked the 11th full member, and it wasn't just symbolic. Along with Nigeria, Vietnam, and Malaysia, all already recognized as BRICS partner nations, the alliance is securing key strategic resources, oil fields, ports, and chip plants. The numbers are staggering. This swelling coalition now produces over 40% of global economic output. At the Rio summit, Brazilian President Lula reminded everyone that these figures matter more than any diplomatic statement. With over half the world now represented under the BRICS umbrella, more than 50 cents of every dollar in trade can bypass traditional US rules. That means countries may soon choose collective BRICS bargaining power over one-on-one deals with Washington. Trump and his advisors saw this coming. As far back as November 2024, he had threatened a flat 100% tariff on any BRICS nation supporting a rival currency. His goal was clear: stop the alliance from launching a shared system that could sidestep the dollar. Wall Street analysts dubbed it a neutron bomb, devastating demand without destroying infrastructure. But with BRICS growing in size and influence, the threat lost its teeth. By July 2025, Trump cut his tariff threat to 10%, realizing broad punishment could backfire. Still, Malaysia warned even that could disrupt global chip supply. They manage 13% of the world's semiconductors. Meanwhile, BRICS is securing critical resources from oil to ports, expanding influence as over 20 nations seek membership. After Trump's win, he threatened tariffs on countries backing a BRICS currency, alarming Wall Street and risking US access to vital global goods. But by July 8, 2025, things changed. At a White House press conference, Trump dialed down the rhetoric. The new plan: a 10% tariff that would only be enforced if a BRICS country took anti-American actions. Investors took note. Washington had realized just how close it was to the edge. That edge is financial. According to IMF and Investopedia data, the dollar now accounts for just 57.7% of global currency reserves. Less cushion means less freedom to wage economic warfare. And while the dollar is still involved in 90% of currency trades, its declining role in savings is shrinking its geopolitical reach. Even a 10% tariff could have side effects. Treasury officials warned that such a move might push foreign buyers away from US debt, increasing long-term interest rates. Across America, companies are already bracing for price hikes on everything from lithium to circuit boards. A 100% tariff would cause chaos, spreadsheet projections would collapse, and companies might relocate operations to tariff-free regions. It's no surprise the White House is choosing its words carefully. A 10% tariff sends a message to Brazil and China, but avoids crippling American manufacturers who depend on foreign components. Still, even this softer strategy could strain logistics. Shipping costs are already high, and credit markets are tight. If BRICS unveils even a pilot version of a shared currency at its next meeting in Johannesburg, tariffs could shoot right back to 100%. Tariffs now affect daily life, from gas to groceries to mortgage rates. As the dollar weakens, each new tariff raises the risk of economic conflict. Meanwhile, BRICS is building a financial system outside US control. The new development bank has funded $39 billion in infrastructure, boosting their influence. At the Rio summit, members agreed to borrow more in local currencies, shielding themselves from Fed rate hikes and US financial pressure. But the real transformation lies in digital innovation. On July 7, 2025, Brazilian media revealed that BRICS leaders had approved the next phase of BRICS Pay, a digital platform that would allow members to settle trades in their own currencies, instantly and securely, with no SWIFT system or US banks involved. Technical teams are working for 18 months to test digital IDs and multi-currency messaging. Officials call it a pilot. Wall Street calls it an escape hatch. If successful, this would allow a Russian exporter to settle in Indian rupees or a Brazilian importer to pay in UAE dirhams, all without using a single US dollar. This reduces demand for dollars abroad, lowers foreign appetite for US treasuries, and ultimately makes borrowing more expensive for Americans, including for mortgages. The pieces are falling into place. The new development bank builds the infrastructure, the Rio Declaration outlines the monetary rules, and BRICS Pay links the entire system together into a fast, efficient financial web. All of this spells trouble for Washington. Tariffs were never designed to stop a system like this, a parallel financial highway where trade and influence flow without touching a dollar. And the US has already acted. On July 15, 2025, the Trump administration finalized a deal imposing a 19% tariff on Indonesian goods. It was a drop from the earlier 32% threat, but still a heavy blow to Jakarta's copper and textile exports. Days earlier, Thailand was hit with a 36% tariff after it failed to reach a fast-track deal. Last year alone, US firms spent over $350 billion importing goods from Southeast Asia. Consumer electronics, sneakers, and solar panels are now routed through Vietnam and Malaysia instead of China, and those nations are quietly building new systems to handle the shift. Indonesia has tapped the new development bank to finance chip plants and port upgrades. Meanwhile, Bangkok and Kuala Lumpur are accelerating BRICS Pay to allow seamless, dollar-free transactions. Soon, goods like iPhones or yoga gear could be traded entirely in local currency. For Americans, that means two things: higher prices now, and a slower, less stable supply chain in the future. But it's not all smooth sailing for BRICS. Internal divisions threaten to slow progress. In April, the group's foreign ministers failed to issue a joint statement. Brazil and India want moderate reforms, while Russia and China push for a complete reset. That divide became visible again in July, when only 5 leaders attended the Rio summit. Chinese President Xi Jinping skipped the event, and Vladimir Putin joined via video. The Financial Times noted that the absence of key players weakened the image of unity. Scale remains a challenge. The World Bank's $260 billion loan portfolio overshadows BRICS' new development bank. Without more funding and unity, BRICS may struggle to win full commitment from all members. The main obstacle isn't US tariffs, it's the divide between those wanting reform and those pushing for a total reset. Still, the July summit marked a shift. With new banking tools and digital payments underway, more exporters are moving beyond the dollar. As the dollar's global reserve share drops to 58%, tariff threats carry greater risk. The next move. 2 possible paths lie ahead. One leads to moderation, reduced tariffs, IMF reforms, and a pause in trade tensions until after the next election. The other path ramps up the pressure, a return to 100% tariffs that could fast-track the birth of a BRICS currency, with all the borrowing costs and inflation that come with it. Either way, the old global map is fading, and a new multipolar world is emerging. The supply chain is adapting. The question is no longer if change is coming, it's how fast. So, what do you think will happen next? A tariff truce or a full-blown sanction spiral? Drop your forecast in the comments, because this story won't be written at G7 tables, it's unfolding right here, in real time.